there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rockstar Sizzle. We are really glad that you're here. For those of you who don't know me, it says Romy Clark on here, but I'm her sister, Karina. This is my husband, Russ, and tonight we're going to present. We are recording this, and we will post the recording onto the page so that you have, for those of you who couldn't join us live, you have access to it. But LaTaryn's going to start us out.
So, I am going to start posting some of the older videos that Lisa and Curtis used to do, the GoPro network marketing videos. It's not going to be on the same day as a sizzle, but it's going to be just randomly throughout the week. So if you or your team are wanting to know what the GoPro gurus do as a business and how they work their business, it will be there for you to be able to watch on your own. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to message me, or Karina and Russ are my aunt and my uncle, so you're more than welcome to message both of them too about any of the network marketing stuff that's going on. Both of us have been to many of the GoPro events, and the speakers are amazing. So once we start posting those, I hope you guys go through and watch them, and then on Tuesday there'll be a new topic.
So for those of you who don't know what GoPro is, it is the Master Network Marketing Pro. And it is about, we are part of network marketing. And it is an amazing, amazing format for reaching people, because the network marketing is a personal relationship business. And we really, really appreciate that. So the people that are presenting about network marketing are actually presenting on how to have really good, deep relationships and how to better serve the people that you are in contact with, which we just love that part of it.
And it's fairly general, right? It's not all doTERRA. It's
no
network marketing from all over.
Actually, when we go to the Network Marketing Pro event, you are not allowed to wear anything that states what you do for a living. There is it is non-brand specific. So it is about relationship building and really amazing content. So when she's talking about that, about the videos that we've done, there are two presenters that go to the Network Marketing Pro, and Romy is good friends with both of them, and they used to come on to our sizzles often, and they gave some amazing tips, golden nuggets as we like to call them. So we'll post some of those
business tips. Yeah.
Business tips, yes. So LaTaryn, do you have anything else that you want to add before we get going? Okay, so tonight, yeah, go ahead.
We're going to talk about frankincense tonight, but I think that we should start with why is frankincense important right now at this moment, like for December?
Yeah.
As doTERRA business owners, why are we interested in frankincense right now?
And so we really want to hit it from all of the angles about frankincense as an oil itself, where it comes from, how it works in your body, why it's important to know these things for your business. Because if you know how it actually works in your body, not that, oh, it's really helpful for a proper inflammatory response. Okay, but how does it work in your body? So
what I was getting at is 200 PV frankincense month, December.
Yeah,
so
guys, get a lot of goodies. Get your Christmas presents and get a free frankincense.
But since we're all business owners here, then December is a great time to present frankincense to your downline,
absolutely,
to your people. So 200 PV, right?
200 PV, you get a free frankincense. If you place that order by the 15th, you also get free clove. And for those of you who don't know what clove is for, oh my goodness, It is an amazing oil, and we could go into a whole presentation about clove, but we're not going to do
Tonight
that.
is frankincense.
Frankincense is tonight. But for those of you who have dreamed about owning Melissa oil, because it is just a powerful oil, you get 20% off for the month of December.
December is a big month.
It is a big month, so you can make that purchase and then add some more to it to get your 200 PV. So you're getting a Melissa at 20% off. You are getting a free clove, and you're getting a free frankincense if you place your loyalty reward order by the 15th.
So it's important to know a little something about, for instance, frankincense when you're presenting the deal to your people. So we're going to talk about frankincense. So where does frankincense come from, honey?
So frankincense comes from the Frankincense Trail, which goes from Oman to Somalia, and it's we call it almost the Trail of Tears, but it's not really truly tears. But when they harvest frankincense, they're making a cut into the tree, which creates a teardrop, and that's the sap of the resin, which I call sap, and they're harvesting that. But the beauty about what doTERRA is doing is that they have partnered with some people who are teaching about sustainability within the frankincense. So a frankincense tree will actually produce for 100 years. That's a really long time when they're taken care of properly. So not only are we getting this amazing oil, but we're also partnering to help educate on proper harvesting techniques so that we have sustainability of this amazing oil.
So frankincense comes from Somaliland. In the region of Somaliland that it comes from, a full 1/3 of the population is involved in harvesting frankincense, and that's basically their only source of income. And before doTERRA started getting frankincense from there, they were only getting 0.8 of a penny per kilo for frankincense resin, and they were really getting schnookered. And so doTERRA went in there and built warehouses, created a co-op, put people to work, and
provided protection.
Right, because it's a dangerous place in the world, but they made sure that those frankincense harvesters and the ladies that were sorting in the warehouse were getting a fair wage for so doTERRA had to kind of lay the groundwork before we could even start getting our frankincense oil from them. Frankincense hasn't always been an oil. The resin itself is edible, and I think that's interesting. Who knows for how many thousands of years people have been using the resin without distilling the oil. A lot of cultures in northern Africa just chew the resin. It's completely edible, and it's really good for all of the things that our frankincense oil is good for, especially digestion. They chew the resin for digestive issues. Can I say headaches?
Well, it helps to soothe head tension.
Yeah, and all of the things that we use the oil for. And another interesting thing is that in the resin, there's a beneficial product called boswellic acid that you get from the resin, and in the distillation process, you lose it. We don't have it in our essential oil.
We actually do have it though in our lifelong vitality.
There you go, boswellic acid. Another reason to take LLV.
Yep.
So frankincense comes from a genus of tree known as Boswellia. There's many different species of the Boswellia tree, but only 4 of them produce an essential oil. And so our frankincense that comes in our 15 ml bottle with doTERRA is actually a blend of mostly 3 of them. So I can pronounce them, I think, Carteri, Florinia, and Sacra. So Boswellia is the genus, and those 3 species, kind of a blend in our frankincense bottle.
So why is boswellic acid good is the question.
That's a great question. We could do a whole presentation on the LLV and go line by line, I guess.
But we're gonna stick with the oil tonight, just because we could get
Well,
rabbit trailed really quickly.
We should do LLV a different time.
Yes, we can do LLV another time. So co-impact sourcing is something that is a huge part when I present to people about our essential oils. So when we are doing, when we're getting oil from our distributors, we are impacting the people on the other side of the bottle. And I don't know if you have looked at those videos, but those are powerful because we are helping to provide fresh water into those areas. We're helping to build schools in those areas, and it's helping to improve their economy. So it is both sides of the bottle. I'm getting the amazing benefit of frankincense, but I know that when I'm using that oil, someone on the other side of the bottle is getting paid. And that to me is really important when I'm presenting to people and telling them it's not just about what it's doing for me, it's about what it's doing across the globe. So
that was really important in Somaliland, to build those relationships with those people. And since then, how many years we've been getting frankincense from there. doTERRA has built 2 schools, a medical center, and a hospital, and we're not finished yet. I mean,
yeah,
we're providing a fair wage for the harvesters and the sorters, and built them a co-op and all of those other things too. So definitely benefiting both sides of the bottle.
So we know that frankincense has been around for a really long time.
You know, I was reading that archaeologists have shown that frankincense was the world's first export. So before people started exporting iron or bronze or any of the things we think of thousands and thousands of years ago, people knew the value of frankincense and demanded it, and that was the world's first export.
That's pretty incredible. And when they raided tombs, they weren't necessarily after the gold, they were after the frankincense, because it had such a high value.
Yeah.
And that same frankincense that they place so much value on is what we actually get to use.
Still just as valuable.
Very much so. So
using the oil, you want to talk about using the oil?
Yeah.
So what are the ways that you can use any essential oil, right? Aromatically,
topically, and internally.
Okay, so frankincense the same. So you get different benefits. Topically, it has always been used for its anti-aging benefits. So it's really good for your skin, right?
Yeah. So it's rejuvenating and helping at a cellular level. We're going to get into that actually.
The different like Cleopatra and the people that we hear about in history knew the value of it, bathed in frankincense oil for their skin health.
Yeah. And it's also good because it's at a cellular level. It helps with your immunity.
We'll get there.
Yes.
Aromatically, frankincense is rich in alpha pinene and other monoterpenes, and so that makes frankincense emotionally calming and stabilizing. It induces feelings of peace, satisfaction, and balance. And I would like to add, I guess, on a personal note, I wrecked my motorcycle earlier this year. Thankfully, Carino was there, and I remember
not so thankfully on my part, but yes,
I'm glad you were there.
Yes.
I remember the whole thing vividly, and as soon as we got an ambulance coming, then the very second thing that I asked was,
he wanted frankincense.
Yep, I asked for frankincense, and I never did go into shock. I was injured pretty badly, but I was awake and alert the whole time, and I felt grounded, and I was joking with the EMTs, and really calm. I don't want to. You say it. I was pretty calm, yeah.
For someone who had a 90% severed foot and hanging on to his foot to keep it from completely separating, He was extremely aware, alert, and calm.
And I smelled like frankincense.
He
boy,
smelled,
I'll tell you.
yep. And not only did it help him, but I could breathe it in at the same time, which helped me because I was a little bit on the panic side trying to get some help in there and waiting for the ambulance and wondering what was going to happen. So on a personal note, frankincense was the go-to for us.
It's the one I asked for.
And it's actually what I used in the emergency room on the road rash. They took care of the other things. I didn't touch any of that, but they hadn't cleaned up his road rash on his leg, on the opposite leg, or on his hands. And so I cleaned that up and put frankincense on. They never touched that particular road rash. They never touched it again. They looked at it and they said, well, what did you do? And I just told them that I had cleaned it and applied some oil to it. And they were like, okay, looks good.
Yeah. Well, it healed faster than the road rash that we couldn't get to.
Yeah.
Under the cast.
Yep.
And a year before that, I was fishing with a friend of mine, and he fell off a cliff. Really, it was bloody looking. He got it scraped up pretty bad. Well, my first aid kit is a frankincense roller. I mean, I doused him up with frankincense, and he was in shock when I found him because he was scraped up so bad, really, and I doused him up good with my frankincense roller and got him to the truck, and he was fairly calm. He healed up anyways. But frankincense is kind of a first aid kit in a bottle.
Yep. And yes, we did put it right onto the road rash, and it was soothing for it. So why do we tell you stories? We know that in business, stories sell. So we tell you the stories about how we've used frankincense. But telling the story about frankincense, the overall story, knowing where it comes from, how it impacts people, and how it actually works in your body is all part of your story. It's part of the impact and the power behind the oil. And so when you are presenting someone with frankincense and how amazing it is, you know it's amazing, but they want to know why. Why is it amazing? Why does it work in your body? Is it just part of the mind and we're like, oh, it's just your brain can do amazing things for your body. So some people think that it's just a placebo. But if you know the science behind how the oil works, that is part of the story of frankincense. How does it work in your body? Why does it work?
When you present frankincense, then there's so many benefits within the body, and it starts with digestion, joints, liver, lungs, the musculoskeletal system, urinary tract, immune function, brain activity, and on it goes. And the big one they talk about, since frankincense is mostly monoterpenes, is cellular function. And you kind of just read down the list and skip on by that one, because what in the world, that just sounds ambiguous. Cellular function, what does that mean? And so that's kind of the part that I researched. What in the world do they mean by helping cellular function? And I'm probably going to bore you for a minute, but it's necessary to get to the word picture.
Okay.
So I'm going to read this. I hope
it's actually really cool. And for those of you who are science minds, we apologize for the pared down picture, because this is how I can understand it.
Me too. If there's any biochemists out there, I apologize ahead of time, but I have to put it in words that I understand, and it seems to help other people too. But we'll start with this. There are about 37 trillion cells in the human body. Each cell contains a DNA genetic code that is more than 3 billion nucleotide pairs long. Each cell's DNA code contains about 20,000 genes. This is in each cell.
That's crazy.
20,000 genes, which in turn contain the code for around 90,000 proteins. So within the cell's DNA, there's a subset called RNA. Actually, within RNA, there's a subset called mRNA, manufacturing RNA. That's where those proteins come from, and your body produces 90,000 proteins. So to make the thought a little simpler, you could say that each one of those 90,000 proteins represents a cellular function. And so hang with me a minute. Some examples of cellular functions are this: food must be broken down, energy must be produced, amino acids, carbohydrates, hormones, lipids, steroids, nucleotides, vitamins, and minerals must be produced, altered, or metabolized. Those are the sort of cellular functions that I'm talking about. And now for the word picture.
Yay for me.
Thanks for sticking with me. So, since you're sitting there watching, obviously your car is parked out in the driveway, just sitting there, not doing anything, and it's not going to do anything until you stick the key in the ignition and start it up. So the way that I think of this is that your cell is sitting there full of little engines not doing anything.
90,000 of them.
90,000 little engines not doing anything until the proper protein comes along as the key to start that engine and get that cellular function rolling. And
so with that, once one engine is started, then it keys another engine to start, and it links like a chain, which creates another one starting and another one. But you can have a broken chain. Something doesn't get started. And that's where we get into some of our issues and our illnesses.
So frankincense, functioning in several different ways, as she was saying, it can function as the missing link in the protein chain. Those proteins are the messengers that tell the cell what to do and when. And frankincense, if those proteins are the key that starts the engine, frankincense is basically a skeleton key that can come along and start any of those engines.
Which is amazing. Like, it can fill in the gap. It can actually encourage. So when a protein goes in as a messenger, and let's talk about inflammation. So if we have a protein that's told, okay, we need some inflammation into the body, and we know that inflammation can be a good thing within your body. It's a necessary response. But sometimes that engine is over revving, and we get too much inflammation, and we cause damage around the area. So frankincense can go in and go, wait a minute, because you need another protein to shut it off.
Yeah, as Boston would say, cool the engines.
Yeah, so frankincense can actually go in there and help to soothe that, and you then can have a proper inflammatory response.
So technically speaking, frankincense can activate various biochemical pathways, stimulating the production of beneficial proteins or suppressing the overproduction of others. So it can do both: turn the engine on, shut the engine off, whatever your body needs at that moment.
So that's just a basic word picture. We need our engines firing properly in every cell so that we have an overall well-being. So it's not just physical, like you had an injury. Frankincense is a great thing to add for helping support his body during that injury. But emotionally, we know that when we have an emotional response, our chemistry changes. So we're getting a lot of protein.
It goes right back to the cellular level. Emotions start at a cellular level.
Absolutely. And so
which engines are revving, yeah?
Yeah, which engine is revving, which is causing way too much of something. And so the frankincense can go in and say, well, let's tone that down so that we have a proper emotional response.
Essential oils have been scientifically shown to act as activators or suppressors, setting into motion necessary cellular processes and suppressing others.
That's pretty incredible.
If you look at the chemical makeup of, say, a hormone or any of these proteins, if you're interested, proteins are amino acid chains, usually about 20 amino acids in a protein. The chemical makeup of our essential oils looks very similar to the chemical makeup of those proteins. And so, like Karina was saying, they can stand in the gap if there's a link in the chain that's missing, or they can act as the key that if that protein is missing or your body's having trouble producing that protein or that key, the essential oil can stand in the gap.
It can help that message get through, which is what we're wanting for our overall well-being. So why do we go into the chemistry behind it? To have a word picture, because you have people that want to know why it works in your body. Why does it work? We know from personal experience it works, but how does it work? And so if you have a basic, I'm not a chemist. That was not my game. I do like knowing how it works in a simplified picture for me. That makes sense to me. My engines need to start.
Cool your jets, babe.
It's just important that you have a basic understanding of how it works within your body. Not just that it's an amazing oil, because let's face it, it is the king of oils. Yeah. Because you have 90,000 proteins within one cell.
Yeah.
And so,
the potential for that. Yep, they produce them as they need them.
It works with those proteins. So that's 90,000 within a cell. That's mind-blowing to me, that it can affect so many things and work with it on that level. So when we have some allergies going on in the air, and we're having not a great response to it, and we don't have lavender, because that's my go-to for it. We don't have lavender, but wait a minute, frankincense can fill that gap for me.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they call frankincense the king of oils, is its versatility. You think of lavender for that, or for a burn, or for relaxing you at bedtime. Well, frankincense can do all of those things as well. Or you think of maybe rosemary for mental acuity, or frankincense works for that as well. Or you think of deep blue for joint health, frankincense does that as well. I think that's probably why frankincense is the king of oils, because it's good for everything.
It is really good for all of those things.
And the surprising thing to me, I'm a history buff myself, but the surprising thing to me is people knew this more than 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's hard to feature.
So we have free frankincense this month, and that is truly a gift. I mean, doTERRA knows what they're doing. So you have people who they're like not really sure, and they think it might be hokey, but when you talk about the research that's being done with frankincense on a cellular level, and you have a basic understanding of that, and you can present it, that's part of the frankincense story.
Well, we say often that when we're talking about essential oils, you're actually talking about organic chemistry, and you can look at how the molecules are made, what the compounds are, what the formation of the molecule is, and compare it to the molecules that our own body makes, and they're so similar, it's scary.
Yep. So that's knowing the full story about frankincense is key. And this month, being able to present that, and knowing that we can get that for free, and have such a powerful tool in our, what we call our go bag. Each of us have our own go bag, and it's filled with our particular oils that we love.
Frankincense would be in both.
Yeah, it is, because it is so versatile. Having those key things available to you is, well, for us, it was pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
It was
Made a
very
huge difference
beneficial.
when I wrecked my
Yes.
bike.
Yep. And just that whole process, the emotional support, the physical support, the mental support, everything was in that one bottle. Not that we didn't use other oils as well, but it was in that bottle.
I think that the doctors and the medical industry is coming around to it. You know, they didn't. Nobody at the hospital that we were at had a problem with you dousing me up with frankincense.
Not at all. Actually, the one doctor came in and he said, "That is amazing."
Yeah.
That was it. And his orthopedic surgeon here, once we got transferred back to Boise, and he was watching his progress.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty bored with him now because he's not going to get to do surgery on him.
You know,
he just said he was a walking billboard for doTERRA.
Yeah, this orthopedic surgeon is just in awe. He says my ankle should have been swelled up about 3 times what it actually is, and he wanted to know what we were doing, so we told him Karina massages essential oils into it pretty much every night, and that's what we're doing. And he said, well,
you're doing the lifelong vitality,
well, of course,
and bone nutrients, and we have a whole regimen. But yes.
But yeah, the orthopedic surgeon said, well, you are a walking doTERRA billboard.
Yep. So don't be afraid to talk to your healthcare providers, and if they are not open to it, refer them to some research. Have some in your toolbox. Have some scientific places that they can go to and say, I understand that you don't have the information about this, but here is some really good content.
Yeah.
And
there's plenty of scientific studies out there, especially on frankincense.
Absolutely.
Lots on frankincense.
Yep. And if they're willing to look, that's awesome. If they're not, be straight with them. Tell them,
find a different provider.
There is that. But just say, I'm going to use this because it works for me. There's no reason for a fight, but there's no reason to be scared to share it with your physician either.
Can I add something to that?
Yep, absolutely.
So most of you know that I live in Utah. So when I was pregnant with my youngest, Kaylin, we lived about 45 minutes south of where we live now. That's where my doctor was. And he was a family physician, so that's who we went to for everything. And he also delivered my son and my youngest daughter. By the time Mason came around, after my pregnancy with Mason and stuff was when I was introduced to doTERRA. So I was able to use the oils all through my pregnancy with Kaylin. And I knew just by looking at Stephanie Fritz's blog and her stuff, I knew what oils were safe to use for my pregnancy. I knew what I could and couldn't do. I always went into preterm labor. I was always on the terbutaline shots and the pills. I was hospitalized for a week on a magnesium drip with my second daughter. It was bad, and it always started at 16 weeks on. And most of the time, they always told me, nope, there's nothing we can do till you're at least 18 weeks and you can go up to the maternity ward. This, with Kaylin, I started at, 15 weeks? 14, 15 weeks, which I miscarried at that one of my pregnancies at that point in time. So I was absolutely petrified until I hit 30 weeks with all of my pregnancies. So I took the Modern Essentials book into my doctor and said, I want to go as natural and use the oils as much as possible because I know they work. I've seen them work. I've been using them. I just need you to get educated. So when I come to you, you know how to educate me. And he was so thankful that I gave him a book because he has he said, I have tons of patients, probably over half of his patients use doTERRA and want him educated on the oils, but no one ever offered him a book to have himself to be able to look up stuff. Yeah. So don't be afraid to say, hey, look, here's a book, educate yourself. So when I come in, you know how to educate, so you know how to treat
Yep.
me when
That's
I have
exactly
something
right.
wrong.
Yep, absolutely. Give them the option, challenge their mind.
And you
Our-
would be surprised at how many, especially family doctors, would actually rather go the natural route.
Yep.
But because they have so many patients that are scared of the natural route, they won't do anything until you speak up and say, I want natural first,
Yep.
then medications, if the natural does not work.
Yep.
But
it
you
can
have to
develop.
speak up.
It can develop into something really big too. Our family doctor, healthcare provider, actually has called Karina asking about different essential oils for different applications.
And asking if she can refer those patients to me.
So please don't be scared.
I mean, it is a little bit daunting, but you know what? You have the resources available to you. That's the key.
Yeah,
is
that's
that
the wonderful thing about doTERRA is all
there's-
their resources.
Absolutely. There's so much research out there. And for me, I love research and I love looking. And I don't always look at doTERRA's sites. I look at a broad spectrum of research, so that when somebody says, oh, it's only because doTERRA's putting it out and that's all you're getting. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm getting this from Harvard and I'm getting it from Mayo and I'm getting it from all of these research sites that are reputable medical research. There's a lot of it out there, and educating yourself and knowing. So when somebody says, well, that doesn't work, well, let me show you some research, or that's just hokey. Well, I'm pretty sure that all pharmaceuticals started as plant-based.
Plant products, yeah.
So, and there, you don't have to get combative with it. We all know that, but just doing the research so that you have the confidence to know what you are using and how it's working in your body. My transplant team, the pharmacist, because we always had a pharmacist come in on the rounds. When I brought in the Lifelong Vitality, I brought in the brochure and I was like, here's the brochure, look it over, tell me what you think. She brought it back. She's like, I would take this. This is really good stuff. And I was cleared to take it.
So the long and the short of it is you can't make an informed decision unless you're informed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are those that are totally opposed to it. And that's when you just say,
I think it's because they're uninformed.
absolutely. When they are ready to be open to it, they're going to be like, oh, and the more seeds you plant, the more times it's going to play in their head. So just don't, I know it's really easy to say, don't be afraid.
Great doors open when you're not afraid.
That's true.
Yeah.
And just know that all they can do is say no. But they could say yes. And they could be like, I'd like to be educated. I would like to know more about that.
So I have a challenge for you, Aunt Karina.
What is that?
And you're not going to be able to do it right now.
Uh-oh.
But for all of you that don't know my aunt's story about the Lifelong Vitality Lifelong Vitality Pack and her transplant, she would have died basically without it. So my challenge to you is I want you to write on it or do a video on just that.
Well, I actually,
because that's very helpful.
Yeah, I do actually have my story written. I need to go back through and make sure that everything is absolutely compliant.
Yeah, for sure. Because
we had to start over with our blog because of compliance issues.
Yep.
Yeah, and in all honesty, and I'm actually glad that the compliance came about, because it made us be very clear on how the oils worked in our body. They are not treating and curing. They're actually working with our body so our body can help itself. And they're just amazing. So yes, I can do that. It's been a while. There's some times that I just think about it and go, that seems like a lifetime ago. And it's been 6 years since my last major surgery, and it's a completely different life now. Completely different life. But on that note, don't be afraid to do the research and find out how your body actually works, because we are incredibly and wonderfully made. And these oils are a gift. And when you know how they work in your body, you are more able to then talk to others and share with them how it can work in theirs and how it can actually bring them some hope. And there are stories that you guys have heard that are absolutely stunning. Like, how did that happen? He's a walking miracle. He is truly a walking billboard.
True.
He's walking that in itself
I'm a
on
walking
his
billboard.
own on his own 2 feet. And every day we are astounded. I'm still astounded when they work because it's so incredible. So don't be afraid to gather the whole story about an oil. It's not just a drop. Where did it come from? How does it work in your body? What's the backstory? Who are you impacting? That's all part of your oil story.
Yeah.
So make sure that when you are telling people, when I'm presenting, what lights me up is our co-impact sourcing and our healing hands.
Yeah.
People, don't forget the Rose and the Hope this year. Rose and Hope are phenomenal. Add it to your order. Rose is all $20 goes for the healing hands. Do you know what healing hands does? Do you know the Hope oil goes for, everything goes towards the fight against sex trafficking? And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for that to be a done thing.
Yeah.
Our children should not be subjected to being sex slaves or being harvested for their organs. That's just wrong. It's wrong. And we can be part of that fight to stop that.
Part of the solution.
Absolutely. So when you are giving out those oils, remember, those are beautiful gifts for the person receiving them, but you are also giving to those fights. So that's just my 2 cents.
And if you think that it can't happen in your town, think again. We just had 26 people go to jail down by where Tim Ballard lives for sex trafficking kids in and out of Utah. This was right in his hometown area. They saved over like 200 kids.
That's
various ages.
That's horrific. It's like, why?
Yeah. And like we had two different police squads trained that went with him so that they now know what to look for. Because that's the problem, is the police force, majority of them aren't trained, so they don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Parents aren't trained, so they don't know what to look for.
Yep.
And it's not just kids, it's women of all ages that are being kidnapped too. Like, I could not believe it happened. Like,
it's so close to home.
I'm still an hour from it, and it still freaks me out.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have questions? We'll open it for questions, and then I'll stop the recording, and we can have free questions.
Have a free for all.
So,
I have one more thing to add.
Okay.
I know that corporate had said that they're being a little bit more lenient on compliance. They're not.
No.
So don't be as compliant as possible with your postings, or you will be asked to take them down. I've gotten 3 calls in the last week to ask for my posts to be taken down.
Just be very conscious about, if you know how it works in the body, and how it's supporting your systems, that's a key. It's supporting your system. It's not fixing it. It's supporting it. Stick with that.
They nailed me for using pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Discomfort.
And so I had 2 separate posts that they nailed me for using nerve in one and pain in another and oils in the same paragraph.
In the same paragraph. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous. I was like,
Mm.
you got to be kidding me.
But when you're sharing in person, share away.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and this is housekeeping again. We didn't mention this, but we will mention this on the recording so everybody hears it. We are going to go back to the 8 o'clock time frame. Is that correct, Lateran?
So we are going back to the 8 o'clock time frame. And I'm sorry for you East Coasters. I know that's super, super late for you guys. But I don't even get home from coaching until closer to 8 o'clock in the evening. So I won't be able to help on any of the sizzles or even be on any of them unless if it stays at the 7:30 time.
And I need her. We're a team. You
So
get
I'm
you get the
sorry.
Lateran and Karina show.
I know it ends up being very, very late, but I did see Kenzie post something about doing a morning one on a different day of the week. So go in and do your poll for, I think she posted it in Rockstars, do the poll and for day and morning times. And then I know mornings are way better for me because kids are all in school. And we can do a morning call one part during the week and then an evening call at a different time during the week. And
Yeah, we'll
it
get this
definitely will
figured
not
out
be
so
the
we can
same
cover people.
topic.
And if all else
Yep.
fails, it's recorded.
Yes, when all
Yeah.
else fails, it is recorded. But for the two of us to be able to join forces on this, it works better for 8 o'clock. So we hope that you guys will stick with us, and we are going to just dig deep and learn the stories behind oils. And we really, really want to bring value to you guys, and we want to hear from you guys. So do we have any questions? Anybody?
Well, this isn't a question, but I want to make sure that people know about Giving Tuesday today. And you can go to OUR, Operation Underground Railroad, and for $39, you get a book about I'm Not a Slave, I think is what it's called, and all of that. And it's everything that you donate is matched today.
That's cool. That's really good. Thank you, Tracy.
And if you are interested in the Tim Ballard's story about how he adopted his 2 children that he has through the sex trafficking portion, it is on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
And he has another one. There'll be 2. He has another one that's coming out. I got a sneak peek of it at the Sundance thing with Gina.
Cool.
So that one's supposed to be coming very soon. So all you have to do is search Underground Railroad on Netflix, and it should pop up.
Yeah, I want to see that. So if nobody has any questions, I'm going to stop the recording. Let me see if I can stop it. There we go.